Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Holly and you're watching 𝐊𝐴𝐴 TV live from Sydney. This is the last show of the day, the last trade. And there's no better way to wind down the day and the week than with today's market close commentary. In today's show, we'll be looking at the overall ASX 200 performance for the day and we'll also explore the gainers and losers. Then we'll be looking at the details of the companies that are in the news today like Qantas Airways, online furniture retailer Temple & Webster, financial services software maker Iress, and much more. Then I'll share some of the latest updates on why 𝐷𝐵 topped the losers chart for the second day. Then some more updates on the Asian markets in the last segment, along with a special report on cryptocurrencies. So let's dive straight in. Well, the Australian share market ended high today after a sharp carnage in the previous session, as mega merger deals between Santos and 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐺𝐿 boosted sentiment. The record surge in commodity prices like aluminium and nickel also supported the market. Meanwhile, concerns about the rapidly spreading Delta variant of COVID-19 weighed on the market sentiment, as investors feared that it would impact economic growth. The benchmark index ASX 200 ended higher by 0.38%, led by gains in blue chips, minor, energy and tech stocks. Earlier today, the Aussie market opened higher, underbuying a weak cues from Wall Street and rose as much as 0.8% to hit a high. Overall, the ASX 200 ended weak with a 1.66% loss, as all these sectoral indices settled in the negative terrain. On the COVID-19 front, New South Wales reported over 1,500 new infections and 9 deaths in the past 24 hours, while Victoria's case tally stood at 334. Both states continue to see a record rise in infections despite strict COVID-19 norms. And earlier this week, New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian released modelling which estimated the caseload would peak in the state next week and that hospitalizations would also surge next month. With that said, let's see how these sectoral indices performed today. The market width indicating the overall strength was strong, with 10 of 11 sectors ending in the green zone. The healthcare stocks were the only losers with a 0.7% loss, but reversing previous session losses, the material sector emerged as the best performer, despite a continued fall in iron ore prices. Iron ore dropped 2% a tonne in the overnight trades as China curbed steel production. Index heavyweights BHP Group, Rio Tinto, Fortescue Metals as well all closed higher. And in a similar trend, the energy sector also witnessed a surge in buying after Santos and 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐺 moved towards their merger plans. Index heavyweights Woodside Petroleum, Santos and 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐺 plus Worley were among the top gainers. Meanwhile, gold stocks witnessed a surge in buying owing to a rise in the price of the yellow metal. Gold spot prices rose 0.4%, and the sectoral leaders Silver Lake Resources, Northern Star, Newcrest Mining and Ora Banda Mining were among the top gainers. In the banking space, 3 of the big 4 lenders, Westpac, ANZ and Commonwealth, ended higher, while NAB closed marginally lower. Let's have a look now at the top gainers and losers of the day. Well, as for the gainers, the top is the nickel producer Nickel Mines with an 8.5% gain. Some of the other notable winners were mining firm South32, alumina refining and bauxite mining firm Alumina, mining infrastructure service provider Mineral Resource, and agro firm Nufarm. Meanwhile, Australian law firm 𝐷𝐵 topped the losers chart for the second day. The stock ended 5% lower after falling 8% in the previous session, following the receipt of an unfavourable judgment in the Wivenhoe Dam floods case. The company said that one of its Brisbane floods class action targets was not found liable in a court decision. While some of the other worst performers included software developer Iress, telecom service provider Chorus, and healthcare firms Polynovo and Cochlear. With that said, let's shift our lens to the stocks that grabbed attention today. First up, shares of 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞 Technologies made a strong debut on the ASX today, surging a whopping 100% in the opening deals. The stock price surged to 40 cents against the issue price of 20 cents, and the software as a service business has raised $8 million at an offer price of 20 cents in its initial public offering. Founded in 2014 by CEO Steve Orenstein, the company is an Australian-owned delivery platform that connects customers to a network of local drivers for deliveries. Since its launch in 2014, 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤 has processed over 2 million deliveries. Moving on now, shares of financial services software maker Iress tumbled 5% in the intraday trading as the company issued a business update. The company has granted an additional 10-day period to its takeover suitor EQT Fund Management to undertake due diligence. Last month, Iress had received a confidential, non-binding and indicative proposal from the Sweden-based private equity group EQT to acquire the company via a scheme of arrangement. The company had provided 30 days to complete the due diligence process. Well, now it's time for a short break, but stay with us because I'll be right back with more trending updates in just a few moments. Tune in to stay updated while on the move.
We will tell you where the crypto craze has reached,
Where the property market is headed next.
what the world is doing to become more environmentally friendly.
Apart from tracking the daily market charter.
Be on top of the latest news and announcements
With 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV. Hello and welcome back. Holly this side, and you're watching the market close commentary in the last trade. I'm live from 𝐊𝐴𝐚 Studio in Sydney, so let's take a look at some stocks that grabbed investor attention today. Well, shares of Omni Bridgeway topped the losers chart for the second day, as the stock was down at 6.5% after falling 8% in the previous session. This was due to the fact that it received an unfavorable judgment in the Wivenhoe Dam floods case. The company said that one of its Brisbane floods class action targets was not found liable in a court decision. The Supreme Court of New South Wales appeal has found the remaining defendant, Seqwater, not liable to group members in the Brisbane floods class action. Moving on, and shares of Qantas Airways gained as much as 2.5% to $5.36 as Australia's largest airline plans to make the COVID-19 vaccine mandatory for all international flyers. If the company implements this policy, it'll become the first airline in the world to make vaccines mandatory for passengers. Next up, shares of biotech firm PolyNovo dropped as much as 5% after its COO resigned. In an exchange filing, the company said this morning that Anthony Kay had resigned from his post after originally joining PolyNovo from the rival firm CSL. He is now returning to the healthcare major in a more senior position. Chief Executive Paul Brennan said Kay had played a key role in completing and commissioning the company's new manufacturing facility that would make the hernia product and increase its capacity to make biodegradable temporizing matrix. Well, up next, shares of online furniture retailer Temple & Webster ended marginally lower after an exchange data showed that the CEO sold shares worth $1.4 million today. CEO Mark Coulter offloaded over 108,000 shares in an off-market trade. The company, however, has not given any reason for the sale of the shares. And the next update comes to us from Resolute Mining, whose shares climbed 1.6% after they reported $30 million of voluntary debt repayment. The company informed its shareholders this morning about the early voluntary repayment of an additional $30 million on the company's revolving credit facility. The repayment was made from the first installment of the proceeds received on the sale of the Bibiani gold mine and brings Resolute's total voluntary repayments in 2021 to $50 million. And the share price of nickel mines rallied over 8%, pairing previous session losses. The nickel producer on Thursday said it raised $204 million by issuing senior unsecured notes to strengthen its balance sheet. The new notes carry an interest rate of 6.50%, maturing on the 1st of April 2024. The proposed new notes constitute a further issuance of and will be consolidated with the existing notes to form $325 million of single series of notes. The debut issuance will be used to meet working capital and general corporate requirements, bolstering the company's treasury. Now it's time for another short break, but stay with us because I'll be right back with more trading updates in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Sage, and get ready to take the crypto ride with me on 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞 TV. Watch the Crypto Buzz every Tuesday and join the excitement at 𝐊𝐿𝐴 TV. From Bitcoins to NFTs to Dogecoin and DeFi, we have updates about everything around these digital currencies. Understand the investing rationale and the risks involved in the space with me, Sage, on Crypto Buzz. Keep watching 𝐊𝐿𝐴 TV.
Welcome back to the last trade. Let's have a look now at the Asian market performance. While shares in the Asia Pacific region were trading higher today, snapping a two-session losing streak led by Hong Kong. The Hang Seng Index emerged as the best performer in the region with a 1.65% gain led by a rebound in Chinese tech stocks. The index dropped over 2% in the previous session amid reports that Chinese authorities summoned two video game firms. The market sentiment was spooked after the South China Morning Post reported the Chinese government temporarily suspended approval for all new online games. Meanwhile, Japanese market resumed a rally for the seventh session after a day's pause amid optimism that the new Prime Minister will increase stimulus spending. Last week, Japanese PM Yoshihide Suga announced to step down from the office by the end of the month. The market sentiment was also boosted by a downtrend in new coronavirus cases, particularly in Tokyo. And in a similar trend, China's Shanghai Composite rose 0.4%, while South Korea's Kospi gained 0.35%, and the Straits Times in Singapore added 0.6% as well. Meanwhile, Indonesia's Jakarta Composite traded higher by 0.5%, while Thailand's Set Composite gained 0.2%, and Taiwan's Weighted Index rose 0.6% as well. Meanwhile, India's BSE Sensex also traded marginally higher in the opening deals, tracking firm cues from its Asian peers. Moving on to the US now, and Wall Street closed lower in the overnight trades on Thursday, after weekly jobless claims dropped to a near 18-month low. The data released by US Labor Department showed that the new claims for state unemployment benefits fell 35,000 to a seasonally adjusted 310,000 last week, the lowest level since March of last year. Looking at the indexes now, and the Dow Jones dropped 0.4%, the S&P 500 fell 0.5%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite closed 0.25% lower. Now we've reached the last leg of our show, and in this segment we'll have a look at the crypto market performance. While the major cryptocurrencies were trading mostly higher today, reversing previous session losses, after El Salvador officially adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. With this, the Central American nation became the first country in the world to use Bitcoin as legal tender, alongside the US dollar. Barring Ether and Solana, 7 of the top 10 cryptos were trading higher, and the global crypto market cap rose by more than 1%. The price of Bitcoin, the world's largest crypto by market cap, is currently trading 1.4% higher as well. The most popular currency has dropped nearly 5% in the last 1 week amid an increase in regulatory concerns and a slew of negative news. Ether, the world's second largest crypto, was trading marginally down as well. And the price of Solana, a blockchain supporting builders around the world to create crypto apps, has dropped nearly 10%. Meanwhile, Cardano, the third largest crypto by market cap, jumped 6%, and Dogecoin prices rose as well, nearly 2%. Among others, Tether, XRP, Stellar, Uniswap and Litecoin were flashing in the green. And that's a wrap on the last trade, but I hope you find the market closing commentary informative. My colleague Rachel will see you on Monday at 9:30 in the morning with our first report on the pre-market open landscape. So stay safe and enjoy your weekend. Holly Shields signing off.